lost touch after high school a little bit,
Yeah.
but
It's been
and I was trying to think how we met in the beginning, and the only thing I could come up with was soccer.
was middle school.
Did you go to Bernie Harris?
Yeah. Do you not remember the time you got me in all the trouble in the fire line? You kicked my heels, and we had to go to the principal's office.
No, I don't.
Yes, and I got paddled, and there was no witness, and my aunt was the secretary, and she raised living hell with who was it? Miss Mathis was the principal,
Oh yeah, I remember that.
and she almost got fired because of it, because there has to be a witness when you get paddled.
Oh shit.
Yeah, and so it was. It was middle school. Bernie Harris. This is like you, me, Jay.
Who was the little dude? He was always
Trip? Was it Trip or
No.
Trent?
no. So Jay was down the street in Homewood Hills.
I was in Homewood Hills.
His sister was there.
There was Chris Warwick. That's at the top of the hill.
Mm-hmm.
You might be thinking Biscuit, Michael Bischoff.
No, but that name
There's-
sounds familiar.
There's Michael Lee Guest. They live right next door to each other. Now, there was a guy named Trent. He was a little punk skater. He lived up kind of close to Chris Warwick. There were the Swansons that lived behind Jay Boyd.
Uh-huh.
There was Bill Spencer.
Okay.
Who else was there right there? Kitty Cat.
The cat suffer. His name's Wonton. He's super sweet. Your dogs are gonna be like, "Where the fuck you been?"
Yeah, I've got 3 of them: 2 Frenchies and a chocolate lab. Naven, or not Naven. That was my old German short hair. There's Pryor, Richard Pryor, Gilda Ratner is my female Frenchie, and then Bill Murray is my male Frenchie. Little comedians. But
Well, Leon Leathers, it's good to see you, man.
yes, it's good. It's been a long time.
You weathered COVID?
Barely.
Yeah.
We got lucky with, we got the PPP money.
Yeah.
We got the employee retention.
Mm-hmm.
All my guys were able to get the unemployment, which was hell to do, doing the paperwork, trying to figure that out. Never done anything like that. So we kept everybody employed, everybody happy.
That's awesome.
Some of the bands we worked for, one of them, No Really Widespread, from here in town.
Yeah.
They kind of went out of their way to help us out because I've been printing with them for 28 years now.
Yeah.
But they found stuff for us to print. They said, hey, double, triple charge us.
Wow.
We know it's tough on you right now, so you've always helped us out, so we're going to help you out.
That's cool.
That's kind of
That's cool.
what they've always done with us. And they've gone under some new management or merch management right now. They brought in a guy that used to be on with them, Eric Draper. Now he's back running merch. And he's throwing everything up against the wall, see what sticks and what if it sells. And hey, we print more. If it doesn't, it's hideous. Then we don't print anymore.
Is your family? I was thinking about this the other day, and I hadn't thought about it in a long time. The Leathers building over in Pulaski Heights. What's the
Yes.
story behind that?
That was built by my grandfather and my great uncle. Claude was my grandfather. Milton Sr., Red as he's known. They built that back in the 40s. Originally, the LH Leathers building, or LM Leathers building, was downtown next to where Clocked and Flicker and Caledonia all was.
Okay.
That was back in the late 1800s, if I remember correctly. Which is funny because that exact same spot where they used to be at in the 1800s is where I first started screen printing. Became classic screen print, where I worked part-time a little bit. Then when we moved to Newbridge Road in 96 is when I went full-time.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, that did all sheet metal fabrication. And we did a little thing called Grippo Guards, which was the little piece of foam rubber at the top of the coat hanger and the piece of cardboard at the bottom of the coat
Yes.
hanger.
Where your pants hung off of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of what we were known for.
No kidding.
So they shipped those to every dry cleaner around the world, I think.
So your family was in Athens for a while.
Oh, I think they're maybe the second or third oldest business in Athens.
No kidding.
There's The history of Athens would be better spoken by my late
Yeah.
Uncle Milton, which knows the history of every single plant and tree in this city.
That's awesome.
A great storyteller.
Is he still alive?
No, he passed
okay.
away. I think it's a little over 3 years now. He died right before Thanksgiving. He passed away. But he was the big historian. He told us all the stories about Athens and kind of ingrained it into us to preserve Athens and this and that, which we try to do as much as we can. But
Man, that skyline downtown looks a lot different.
oh,
I mean, they are just throwing shit up. When I saw the Walgreens go in, the first sign that I saw that made me think, oh no, was when they put the Waffle House right in by the theater.
yep.
I was like, what the fuck is that doing there?
Well, that was supposed to originally, I remember hearing plans about that, was supposed to be the largest Waffle House ever made.
Oh, wow.
And it's supposed to be 2-story. And I guess it got nixed, and I think it's now the smallest Waffle House there is, and probably one of the slowest and worst ones there is. I mean, I rarely go in there. I'm not really out that late at night anymore.
Me too.
But yeah, the growth of the city is just, it all started with, I can't remember, the one right there on
Starbucks.
Oconee. Well, it started with
Starbucks was a big
moving
deal.
in.
That was a big deal.
It was a huge deal.
Yeah.
Because you're moving in right next door to a locally owned coffee shop.
Blue Sky?
Blue Sky.
Yeah, that's right.
Blue Sky Coffee.
They were just like, fuck you, we're coming in.
Yeah, we're coming in. What are you going to do to stop us?
Yeah.
And it's what competition does. You either make it or you don't.
Yeah.
And sometimes competition is great. I mean, here in town, screen printer wise, there's probably 12 shops at screen print.
Really?
And of course, we step on toes here and there, but we all have our own niches, and I think we all kind of do our own little things.
I reached out to Jamie Lofton too.
Founder, him and Bridger, the founders of Locos.
I have to get with him. He's a riot.
I have not talked to him in years. We used to hang out here, not hang out, but
Yeah.
be at Locos together long time ago. Just kind of knew him back then.
Yeah. Do you remember the downtown where the Chick-fil-A is?
Yes.
When I was a kid, it was an open air arcade, a video arcade.
That was, I thought that was, oh, no. Yeah. I was thinking when Zaxby's was downtown in the old men's clothing place. I can't remember the name, but
Did they put a Zaxby's downtown?
they put a Zaxby's downtown. It probably lasted, I don't think it made it through COVID. Or it just barely did. It was it George Dean's or I think it was Dean's that was downtown.
That's right.
Because it was kind of, it's next to, I guess, Amici's, which used to be Rocky's.
Yep.
Which is
Bob
way
Russo.
back. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
Who killed himself, right?
I
think he
can't remember what happened with all that.
I think he killed himself is what I heard. I don't know.
You hear so many different stories
it's
in
hard
this town. You never know which one's the real one and which one's the halfway made up one and which one's the 100% made up one.
Well, since we're on the topic, I always thought someone had told me a long time ago that Ray Goff had gone in with some business partners and created Zaxby's. And when I heard that, I thought they fucking stole from Guthrie's. But I don't think that's true. I don't think Ray Goff was involved in that.
Now, Ray Goff, I believe, bought into a couple of Zaxby's.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So the story I know is about Zaxby's is I can't remember the two guys' name. They met down in Georgia Southern, I believe
right.
it was.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And they made the first chicken finger place down there. And then they moved up to Watkinsville.
Which is where the headquarters was or is.
I think so. Well, I think it's here in Athens now, but it originally was, I think. And it was in this little teeny tiny shopping center. I think it was the Old Bell Shopping Center because I'd left Classic Screen Print for a little bit and worked at a place called Dog Prints out in Watkinsville for like 6 months manually printing.
Uh-huh.
And there's this little chicken strip place right there and went and tried it. But supposedly both of them had worked at Guthrie's way back in the day too.
That makes sense.
But they also, the story I heard was they hired on a manager and the pretense of him getting the recipe. And they did that. And same with Raising Cane's.
Which isn't that good. I mean, compared to Zaxby's.
Yeah. But the guy from Raising Cane's worked at Guthrie's way back in the day. So everything came from Guthrie's.
That makes sense.
Which is actually a chain, too.
Yeah.
A franchise.
I didn't know that until I saw one in Norcross, and I was like, what?
I remember many years ago, it's like, oh, there's one in Auburn, Alabama. What? And then I kind of looked around. I was like, there's a whole bunch of them here and there.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I remember we'd go in, and me and Ashley Epting, we would go and get a
Shout out to Epting's Catering.
yes. We'd go get a big cup of just a sauce for like $1. I think it was like a 32-ounce cup. And we take it back to the Ramada Inn where Lee Epting Catering first, or where I knew they worked out of at for Leroy Dukes. And we'd fix our own chicken fingers, but we'd have the sauce.
Yeah.
And then plus at that Guthrie's, you could walk behind the counter, get your own sauce, refill your drinks. We knew everybody that worked there.
Did you know Scott Klinke? Or he was.
I know that name very well.
He worked there for a while.
Okay.
And we would go in, and he would just load the boxes up.
Oh, yeah. It was just, I mean, half the people that went to Clark Central worked there.
Mm-hmm.
And we would skip lunch. Or, they didn't really care at Central as long as we came to class and got good grades and stayed out of trouble. We'd just walk down there, get something to eat,
and come right back.
Yep. And teachers knew it and this and that. And they're like, look, they're walking down across the street.
Right.
We'll be right back.
It was a different time.
It was a very different time.
What'd you do after high school?
Well, I went to Piedmont College up in North Georgia. Played soccer up there for 2 years. College wasn't for me.
Me neither. I went to church for a little bit.
I didn't know what I wanted to do. It was kind of like my parents were like, you need to go to college and you have to find your own way and this and that or pay your own way. So I, had soccer scholarship to play. And then I moved back to Athens after 2 years up there. And
was this like 96, 7?
This was actually, I wasn't even up there for 2 years. I think I was up there for a year and a semester. Yeah, I was up there for basically, a year and a semester. Because I came back, and when I first moved back, I worked at Reliance Electric driving a forklift. And just doing stuff. They have a massive building. They had, I think it was 14 bays for semis to pull in on one side and 2 or 3 bays on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And just moving stuff all around there.
Wonton.
Right up on the mic. And my father, his business, LM Leathers, which did switch LH Leathers in 96, they did work for them, and he'd always see me there driving a forklift, and he's like, I know you're not having fun doing this, and we have the screen printer that's going to move into the building here shortly that LM Leathers was moving in and changing over to, and that's where I am now. So I went and applied for a job downtown with Classic, and January moved in there, and then after working there for a couple months, I told myself one day I'm going to own the place.
Yeah.
And now, 28 years later, I'm like, I wish I never told myself that. It's been a battle. We had Classic, then took over Classic with a partner, Naz Poloni, and formed a company called Southland Graphics, which we had me, and I was kind of the production guy. Naz was the office guy. And then I brought on Haywood Thomas, or we called him Woody back then. Mm-hmm. He ran the art department, amazing artist. So he it's like I ran production and Woody ran art, and we just had that thing exploded and made it big time. Mm-hmm. We did a lot of retail, collegiate stuff. You find us in Kroger's and Dillard's.
Damn.
All kinds of mom and pop shops. Nike would call on us to print stuff.
Damn.
There are times where before we were Southland, when we were Classic, we had Duckhead. We were printing Duckhead, 500,000 shirts at a time.
No shit. Wow.
Yeah. We'd print the same duck head or duck's ass sticking out of the water for like 2 months. And it's just nightmares. I was seeing that. I still have nightmares seeing that duck's ass sticking out of the water, saying ducktail.
That shit was so popular.
Oh, it was huge. Now it's come back, and they want like $50 for a T-shirt now.
Yeah.
And it's a high-end brand. I'm like, this was a small local company out of Wander, Georgia, that made khakis and T-shirts now.
One of the few memories I have of so there's 2 memories I have of Homewood Hills, which was where's behind Zares.
Yep.
If you know what Zares was, you're truly an Athens guy. One was coming to your house and your mom, because we lived in a little shack off of Boulevard, but I remember your mom saying something about she was going to get started doing spring cleaning, and I didn't know what the fuck that was. And I was like, what? There's an actual event around cleaning the house? But I remember she was getting on to you about something, because she was wanting to get started, clean the house. I don't know what it was.
Oh, that was every Saturday morning. And then Sunday morning again. It was constantly they'd clean the house. And she was a school teacher. So,
oh, did she? I didn't know.
yeah,
Where's she teaching?
She started at Whitehead and then went to Athens Academy after I was born and taught there. And I went there till I was in first grade.
Okay.
My grandmother actually helped started Athens Academy, which I just found out. She passed away almost a year ago now. And found out that the cafeteria is named after her because there was the guy who started it, and then there was my grandmother that ran the whole show. He was more the business guy of it.
And this is namesake Ruby Sue.
Oh, Ruby Sue. That's my grandmother, Ruby Tillman, and Sue Leathers. Both my grandmothers.
Okay.
From
Got
my
it.
mom's side and my dad's side.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
But yeah, she taught there, then went to, where'd she go? She went to Jefferson County. I think she taught middle school there. Maybe, no, I think it was still elementary. Then she taught at Shea Street forever.
That's where I went.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I remember when y'all lived there. I remember having a birthday party there, spend the night, because I'd get the old movie posters and bring them to you.
Yeah. That's funny.
And then she went to Oglethorpe Avenue. And then she retired right at 30 years. She got fed up with all the politics.
She's still with us,
on.
though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What's she doing? Just chilling?
She's retired. She just got back from the beach last week. My grandparents have a townhouse down on Amelia, so it's all the family gets to use
Amelia
it.
Valley. Yeah.
So her and my stepfather go down there about once a month for a week or so. And then mother, aunt, or my uncles or cousins go down there and stay too. I don't get away that much.
Yeah,
because
you're
of
running a
work.
business.
And then it's a 6-hour drive down there, 6-hour drive back. And I'm like, that's 12 hours. I could relax in town.
No doubt. The other memory is it was the first time I stayed up all night was at Jay's house playing Legends of Zelda because it was my first. I was a big video game kid, period, but I didn't have a system, so it was always when I would be at somebody else's house playing. And I stayed up all night, and my parents were so fucking mad. They found chores for me to do that next day, and I was miserable. I just wanted to go sleep, and they would not let me sleep. That was a hard lesson to learn.
I remember going up there and playing video games nonstop. Mike Tyson's Punch Out, Zelda. Couple, I can't remember the other games, but yeah, it was always play video games over there because Jay always had the newest game or what the new game system came out. I mean, my grandmother Sue's house, we had Pong. At my dad's house, I had ColecoVision. And then I think finally got a Nintendo at my house for a little bit.
And Jay had a half pipe for a little while, I think.
Yes, he had a small half pipe.
It was real small.
Real small.
Like the vert was almost break your neck.
Yeah, but then there was you had the Beast in town. He was kind of modeled about half the size of the Beast.
Oh, I didn't know you ever went to the Beast.
Oh,
I remember
yes.
that bitch. That motherfucker was
Yeah,
huge.
you about break your neck on it. It's like, okay.
I never jumped in.
I'm not doing a ramp thing.
I'll
I'll
watch you guys.
streetscape.
Yeah.
That's who else. Chris Sweeney. Remember Chris Sweeney?
Yes, because he lived across the street from us.
Yep.
He moved to Beverly Hills or some shit when he was a kid.
I remember, I think it was last time I saw him was probably middle school.
That's funny. Me too.
After middle school, and then he just never heard from him again. That happened with a lot of people.
We were young as shit, and he was running a blackjack game out of his bedroom. And it was just quarters, but I lost all my money at Chris Sweeney's house.
Doesn't surprise me.
my first time gambling.
Oh, okay. I remember playing at Jay Boyd's house. We always played blackjack at his house, and he'd take all the money all the time too. I'm not good with card games. When I gamble, it's roulette.
Yeah.
That's an easy game, and you know what's going in. It's a slow game. You don't lose too much money.
Well, what kind of music? Because I went through this rap phase in high school, just doing that thing. But what kind of shit were you listening to when you got out of high school and like into college? Because we ended up converging again for Panic.
Right.
But
I've been all over the place. I mean, I listen to a little bit of everything today. I might listen to Outkast or Black Rock, which is Black Keys and a whole bunch of different artists, rapping artists. The old 70s, 80s. I mean, I'm still on an 80s kick where it's NXS or this. I can't remember half the Big Head Todd and the Monsters.
Yeah. Candlebox.
I,
All that
I was never a
No.
Candlebox. I guess in college I was more like Pink Floyd,
Yeah,
Grateful
yeah.
Dead.
Oh, yeah.
That it's kind of one of those things. You go to college, oh, Grateful Dead. Your mind starts expanding. You
Yep,
go
yep.
see a couple shows. Things start happening. You're like, what is all this stuff out there? Then you start getting into other music because those traveling bands cover so many other different bands. You get turned on to those bands, this band.
I was,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, I remember seeing My Morning Jacket.
Which I just saw 2 years ago for the first time, and it was fucking amazing. It was one of the best concerts I've ever been to.
The first time I ever saw them, a couple of guys at my shop would play them at the shop all the time. They're like, they're coming to Athens. You got to check them out.
Oh, man.
They're playing Tasty World.
No shit.
There are 9 other people there.
That's great.
And they put on a show like they were playing in front of 10,000 people.
Was this clean cut Jim James, or had he already grown his hair out? Do you remember? That was a long time ago.
I don't think he had long hair.
Yeah.
But it's just, I just remember being a killer show. Then they came back and played the 40 watt a couple of times. And I saw them there. Saw the prom show, which was packed to the gills and amazing.
Damn.
Who else did I see?
Tasty World. I forgot about Tasty World.
Tasty World was a great venue. The hi-hat.
Yeah.
Missed the hi-hat. Saw Brute show there, which was amazing. There's 300 people outside trying to get in. There's only like 50 of us inside.
Yeah.
Because the year before they played at the Georgia Theater under bar tab.
Right. I
And
forgot
everybody thought it was going to be a panic show.
that. Right.
And they brought out Vic, and they did a whole bunch of Brute, and everybody's booing at the end of the show, throwing beers at the soundboard, throwing them at the
Damn.
stage. And so they said, screw it. Next year we're playing an invite only. I think it was a benefit for somebody. I think it might have been one of the guys in White Buffalo, maybe.
Me and Dad were talking last night, and he brought up, do you remember Tyrone's?
Oh, yes.
And then Tyrone's burned down. So when the Georgia Theater burned down, that was like, it was this weird bookends of my recollection of Athens history, because I remember Tyrone's, and I remember Tyrone's burning because we went down there to see it. I was already living in Atlanta when Georgia Theater caught on fire, but I just remember thinking, oh no, that's, the other iconic venue. And now they've rebuilt it. It's beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful. I mean, I love it. And it's
different.
It's corporate now.
Yeah.
It's AEG runs it. They still have an old booker, Scott. I think he still might have a part in the theater. He runs Zero Mile, which runs booking for everybody in Atlanta. And I think Macon, they've got a place at Capitol Cox Theater down there, or whatever the name is this week. I think they've changed it recently. But so they were starting to bring some good music in. Music selection in this town is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
It used to be you go anywhere in town and you'd see great music. It was, there are more clubs that served alcohol. Nowadays, it's just bars.
Yeah, yeah. Well, going back a little bit, so you start working at the print shop. Eventually, you ended up taking over or buying them out, or just
Classic Screen Print. The guy that used to own that, Hal, I don't know if he knew how to really take care of money, but he got way past due on bills and rent. And family owned the building, so I talked with my dad and my uncle, and we kind of forced his hand to give it to us, and we made him an offer, and he never got back with us, so we evicted him. The day he came to me, which was a Friday at 4:30, was his last day there, is May 31st, 2001. And I'm leaving work on that Friday, and he wanted to talk to me. He's like, I need another couple weeks. I'm like, no, how?
sorry.
I've watched you drain this business and this and that. It's not happening. Midnight, I'm coming back, and I'm changing the locks on the door. So that's pretty much what happened. And he came back to us about a month later. We found out there were some tax liens on some equipment, so we had to pay him a little bit to sign off.
Right.
But we still paid pennies on the dollar. And then, so Naz and I took it over. And the way I met Naz is he was actually printing through Classic Screen Print. And he was paying payroll sometimes and help buying chemicals and inks for us. And I just told him, stop giving him money. He will go under and have this together. And we'll form this. It'll be a lot better. You run the office in, I run the production at. So we did that until 2009, well, 2008. Guess beginning 2008, I saw that Naz had the same problems Hal did. Like to spend money when it wasn't there. And got in a whole bunch of financial trouble. And once again, I was like, all right, I bought all the assets for pennies on the dollar. If that, half pennies more on the dollar. And formed Ruby Sue Graphics. Started January 2nd, 2009.
Okay.
And it's been 15 years now.
And you already knew everybody, like Sky, and when he was still alive. And
Oh, yeah.
Of course, Danny, and I mean, you're bumping elbows downtown with everybody. Like that whole period from like '96 to I don't know when, but everybody that was a musician was still kind of hanging out.
Oh, yeah. Gus Garcia's is where I met a lot of them.
Where was Gus?
That was where Tasty World is, going back away from, like, going towards Lexington Highway.
Yeah.
It's.
I know the name. I'm just trying to.
It's now, I think, a tattoo place. I'm trying to think. There's another music venue. There's the old Tasty World. There's something right there. There's a big stage there. It used to be One Love.
Okay.
But yeah, I hung out at Gus's. Danny Hutchins and Eric Carter worked in the kitchen.
Oh, that's funny.
There's John Boy that was always there.
Yeah.
Todd Nance, Coach would come in. You'd see JoJo. You might see JB.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just kind of that hangout. And it was 95 is when I really kind of hanging out with them because I'd get off work for driving a forklift at 4:30. I'd be at Gus Garcia's and walk in there and have my newspaper, my pint of Turbo Dog, and we'd sit there and just hold court until whatever time it was. Sometimes the sun came up on us, and I was back at work that next morning. It was not fun, but it's, from there then to you had, Nowhere Bar. You had Georgia Bar, of course.
Now Georgia Bar's gone, right? It's
Georgia Bar's tattoo place.
That's
now.
A bummer, yeah.
Yeah, things changed, but people had the opportunity to bring it back, and
it just didn't. The last time I was in there that I remember, Bloodkin was playing. I think Crumpy wasn't in. He wasn't there, but anyway, I'm standing there, and they just were playing on the floor, and everybody was like around in a circle watching them play. And Amy Edwards was across from me, and I'm kind of doing like a little bit of air guitar in my shirt, and she just puts her hand up like an L, like a loser.
Loser playing air guitar at a
concert.
Oh, my God.
And Eric Carter was fucking playing his frets with a pocket knife.
He's famous for doing that. I don't know where he got that from, but he's always doing that.
I was like, I'm not fucking with this guy. Poor Amy, man. I hated hearing that about her because she was like a big sister when I was bartending at the George Theater.
I think that's when we ran into each other again.
Probably.
When you started working at the theater because it's like, oh, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Or maybe, no, it might have been Circuit City.
Yep. I was there for a handful of years too.
When you were at either one, but remember running into you. But yeah, Athens, we lose a lot of people.
Yeah.
I say Athens is a black hole. It will suck you in when you try to get away. It will grab you and suck you right back into it. And there's some dark parts in Athens. There's not too much to do here except drink, go to school, party, and go to work a little bit.
Yeah.
But there's nothing. There's not like a little putt course you can go play. There's you can go out to run the trails, walk the whatever the what's the new bike thing?
It's like a belt line or something.
Similar to a belt line.
Okay.
I can't remember. It's not the Dragonfly. I can't remember what it's called.
I heard about that poor girl that got killed not too long ago over there.
That
was more intramural fields.
That was intramural fields.
Yeah.
That was like 2 weeks ago. It's scary to think stuff like that happens in a small town like this, but it does. I mean, another thing that hasn't got noticed, that here's this poor white girl that got killed, but last week a 3-year-old gets killed, shot in a drive-by, and no news about that.
Oh my God!
Same kind of background. I don't know if the people were documented, undocumented, what, but I know they were Hispanic or Latino or something. But you don't hear anything about that. You hear about the college,
right?
And as I love the college, but I hate the college. Everything in this town is about UGA, and yes, this town would not be here without UGA, but we need businesses in this town.
Yeah.
We need to stop catering to students all the time. Do you think UGA is just going to pick up and move and go to some other city? No, they're not.
Yep.
They're here.
That's what Dad was saying last night. He said he was talking about Kat and how she kind of has the last of the like little hipster boutiques in town, whereas it used to be Junkman's and a bunch of stores like that, and now it's not.
You had what was Sophie's place? Oh, I can't remember. You had Modern Age at one point in time. You had Boogie Dog, which is more of a head shop.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when Junkman's was on Broad Street. You had Junkman's and Dixon's Bicycles.
Oh, that's right. I forgot they were over there.
They were right
I'll be
there.
damned.
But I remember when Junkman's was there. And you could barely move around in that store because everything was so packed down. And being little punk kids, we'd go in there and we'd steal little buttons, little pin-on buttons for your shirt or something, thinking we were badasses. Oh, we just stole a 25-cent pen, but, you know.
I almost had a stroke last time I was in town kicking around because that the grill looked like it had shut down. And I was like, oh no. But Jeff was saying that they've just they don't stay open 24/7 anymore. They just, you know.
I think they're open 24 hours, or I'm sorry, 12 hours a day now. And I think it might be just Tuesday through Saturday or something. And before that, it was only like 4 hours here and 2 hours here.
Gotcha.
I do think they lost they don't do the same fries they used to do, which upset a lot
That's
of
a
people.
shame.
Because that was one of my things that when I'd go down and have a couple drinks, I'd go down to the grill, get fries and feta and a chocolate milkshake and walk across the street and get a shot of Grand Marnier, put in a chocolate milkshake, and then go home or go back to the bar with dinner.
My girl turned me on to coffee and, oh, God, now I'm not going to think of it. It's a liqueur that goes in there with the coffee. I'll think of it in a minute. She's going to kick my ass for it.
Oh, my God. I don't know what you're talking about.
But I told her about the crinkle.
Bailey's? Not Bailey's.
No, it's, I'll think of it in a minute. But I told her about the crinkle fries and the feta, so that sucks.
Yeah.
I don't do those fries anymore.
Another thing we lost is we lost Euro for a while. We lost the original Euro.
That sucks, too.
And they brought it back. And
the Mayflower.
The Mayflower we just lost.
Yeah.
And the Vaughns have been around forever, and it's time for them to retire. They've been passed on from generation to generation.
This is Mayflower.
This is Mayflower. Their oldest son is Ricky Jr., and I think he might be one of the fire marshals. I know he's higher up in the fire department now.
Frangelico. Okay, sorry.
That's a big, tall bottle, I think, yeah.
That weird bottle. Keep going, I'm sorry.
But I think they just saw the restaurant business. They retired and didn't have anybody they wanted to pass it on to. None of the family members wanted to. So they just said, hey, we'll just rent this place out. And I think it's going to be a Chipotle or something like that.
Probably make a killing.
Another chain store. Everybody bitches about, chains are coming into downtown or in downtown. Chains started downtown. Belk's, Macy's, or whatever's down there. That's where everything used to be. Ace Hardware.
Old Navy.
Well, Old Navy was the big one that
It wasn't there for long, though.
It wasn't there for long, but Old Navy was when downtown shut down because of the mall and everything moved out of the mall. Then Old Navy moved into downtown. That kind of lit a fire under everybody. Oh, we don't want it corporate. Back then, that's when it was the club scene. That was the music scene. Because you used to have house parties.
What's that guy's name that owns a bunch of that downtown real estate? Like
Fred Mormon.
Yes, thank you. I could not think of his name yesterday.
Yes, he owns a lot of it. And I think he's starting to sell some of it off from what I've heard. But he also owns a lot of other property throughout town.
Gotcha.
And I've heard crazy stories. I actually went and talked to him when Eurowrap was up for sale. I went and sat down and talked with him, and it was an interesting time talking with him. He's a character.
I'll have to find him.
He's got some good stories. He's been around forever, and he's dealt with a lot of people. So
yeah. When was your first time? I mean, obviously you probably saw Panic way before I did downtown, but when did you start getting into them? Like
when I got on the bus, so to speak, it was my best friend Dax Burrows. You remember him?
I do remember him.
He's in Birmingham now, but he took me to my first away show in Augusta, 7/24/94.
Okay.
And that's when I kind of got on the bus. It's like, okay, I'm going to start traveling to see these guys. It's fun. And see a whole bunch of friends I know. This and that. Now I've seen them from California to Georgia. Haven't really gone up north too much. Saw them in Dominican Republic, seen them in Mexico.
Yeah.
Throughout the United States. And
So did you just approach Brown Cat once you had your shop?
well, so the very first shirt that Panic ever did by themselves went through Classic Screen Print where I worked. And they knew, I kind of knew the guys, and they're like, well, you just start handling it. And so they just followed me from there.
Okay.
So I've had them. We still have the artwork for the very first shirt. Actually, I think it's the hat I'm wearing.
Yep.
Looks just like that.
I still have one somewhere.
The Well WSP. So, yeah.
Whatever happened to Mary?
She is in Charleston right now. She's married, I can't remember, 1 or 2 kids. Or no, not Charleston, Savannah.
Okay.
She is running, I think right now there's the Savannah Music Festival going on. Goes on for a couple weeks. I think she's in charge of that because I talked to her not too long ago about doing some merchandise for that.
How's she doing?
I think she's doing great.
Cool.
She sounds like her old self, but, I hadn't talked to her too long, but yeah, she's still kicking it and still in the music business.
Cool. She was always super nice. I used to act like I knew her and would say hey to her, and she's like, "Who the fuck are you?"
I'd get that a lot of times from her. I remember going down to driving a whole bunch of merchandise down to New Orleans, and I was promised I'd have tickets. This was probably 98,
like UNO.
99. It was a UNO show.
One time.
Or maybe it was somewhere around there. It was late 90s, I think. And got up to the will call booth, and she was there and asked for tickets. Leon, you're not on the list.
Oh, my God.
I'm supposed to be on the list. She's like, sorry, you're not on the list. I'm like, I just brought $10,000 worth of merchandise down here, paid for my own gas, saying this, that. And she's like, I can only do what I'm told. There's no tickets left. And I'm like, this place is huge. Let me in the door. Finally, Gavorine saw me, and he's like, what do you need? And I was like, motioned me to go over the side door.
This is Gary, you said?
Yeah. And so I told him what was going on, and so he just walked back in, got a pass, came out, put it over my head, and goes, see how easy that was? And Mary's kind of upset because he went over her head. She was doing her job, but she didn't know what all I did.
Right.
And now they kind of know that, I've never asked for free tickets.
Right.
Hey, put me on the will call COD list. Oh, hey, I'm bringing stuff down. And, we'll get you free tickets. Look, I don't give them free shirts. I don't expect to get free tickets. Sometimes it works out that way. I just hate getting on the computer or back in the day on the phone or waiting in line going, oh, God, how am I going to get tickets? Oh, it just sold out.
You know Wilker, don't you? Michael Wilker?
Yes, I've met him once or twice.
I'm going up to Nashville this weekend. I'm going to interview him Saturday. He's a good. He's got some crazy stories too.
He's been around for a long time.
Yeah,
I used
to tape.
Yes, that's what I was about to say because I guess when early '90s is when I got in the big taping. I didn't tape myself, but I got into collecting.
Yeah,
and I was kind of happened to be the go-to guy to get analog from. And when I'd get a M. Wilker tape, I'm like, I knew it was a master analog or my master analog. And I'm like, sweet, this thing has been remastered a little bit. It's going to sound great.
Yeah.
And
the feeling of handing those off to people, like the first time they've seen this show, you're like, yeah, keep that.
Oh, I would have a lot of the tapers would knock down the master analog to me, and I would be responsible for getting out to everybody.
That's so cool. Were you fucking around on the sandbox when it was around? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Was that the listserv?
It was, yeah, somebody would like volunteer
the trees or build trees and vines. Yes.
I think Kyle Pike.
Kyle Pike was one.
Yeah.
But it was a SpreadNet. It was the original SpreadNet. It was a listserv.
Okay.
And it was back in the day. It was before AOL even came about. But yeah, I'd get in there and trade tapes, and I'd have some tapes from this person or that person, and trade them. And my buddy Wade Parr, who a big tape collector, he had some very rare tapes that I can trade for this.
Yeah.
At one point in time, I had 6 dual tape decks going.
Yeah.
Nonstop, all day. I'd get off for lunch, run home, switch tapes around, come off work, switch them around, and then mail them out left and right. And that's when I was working. Some of that was when I was working at Reliance because my cousin Chris worked in the mail room, and we kind of got free postage. So it was very, very easy to trade tapes, or you did B&Ps, blanks, and postage.
Yes,
So I could
yeah.
send out bricks to people. That cost me $0.10. And here's return postage. That cost me $0.10. That was probably a very bad thing to do back then because it probably cost them a couple $100.
I remember volunteering to do it one time, and I don't know who it was that came around to me. It was like I remember very vividly the message to me was, "You're up." And I was like, okay. I had one double cassette recorder. I had no fucking idea what I was in for. My mailbox was full for probably 3 weeks, and I stayed up every night recording those fucking tapes one at a time because I had to do it, you know.
Oh, I mean, I
God
was
damn.
meticulous about it. I'd use the exact same pen. It was a blue pen, WSP. It was the venue, and then the city, and then the date off to the right side.
Yeah.
And I'd write down the set list, and some of them I got were from Larry Aquavilla. If you know him, he's old, like the original Panic roadie. And we'd get tapes from him. And you would have Fuck Truck. Well, that became Love Tractor.
Eliza's apartment.
Liza's apartment.
Yeah.
Pigs fucking was, I can't remember what, Down on the Farm.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Or maybe it was Pigeons or something. He had all, and you barely read his handwriting too. Getting some from him, and then getting Fred Adams. He had a whole bunch of VHS.
I've connected with him. Yes.
So my cousin Chris was good friends with him, so he'd go over there and get a whole bunch of VHS tapes. And I sit there and record Dead, Panic, Fish, Government Mule.
Were you a truckers guy at one point? Were you big into the truckers?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I used to live out what they're called, when I lived out on the river, it's kind of a little hippie commune. There's 3 houses that were exact same. Bottom stairs apartment, or downstairs apartment, 2 bedrooms, upstairs 1 bedroom apartment. There's 3 of those houses in a triplex. And it's 12 acres off of Tallahassee Road. And right in the middle is a huge field. And we'd have a stage set up. And the truckers come out there and play about once a month.
Oh, that's fun.
Or once every other month. We'd have bands out there. Remember JB, the Polar Sausage guy? He'd
Yeah.
He'd come and set up out there.
That's
and we'd just have huge parties, big bands. And it was known as the Coney Overdose parties. When I moved in there, my dad goes, "Oh, I remember going out there and partying when I was in high school." So this has always been a party, like the old house parties and stuff. And yeah, I got into the truckers a good little bit. Saw them here and there. I remember when Patterson worked at the hi-hat on doing sound.
Oh, that's funny.
And lately for me, they've gotten a little too political, not so much rock and roll, like a dirty rock and roll like I like.
Did you watch that Isabel documentary?
I have not.
It's really good.
Check that out.
It's really good.
I remember when the shit went down on Facebook with him quitting the band.
Oh, shit.
In the middle of the night I don't know if I'm really, I mean, people have seen it. It was out in the
They
public.
talk about it in the documentary.
But he pretty much, you could see he'd been having a fun time that night. But he flicked everybody off. Fuck you. And then about 20 minutes later, it's all deleted. And then he leaves the band.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay. And, I think it was part of that. I think he was getting a divorce from Shauna. Or what is
Right.
it?
Yeah, you're right. Yep.
And so, that took its toll. And being the young kid in that band, too, even though
Oh,
they
my
were all
God.
young, but he was the baby of the group. And
Right.
trying to keep up with them.
Oh, my God.
And just many years ago, actually hanging out with Paris and knew him, this and that, mutual friends, house party. And so I get introduced to Patterson's dad, David Hood. I have no idea who David Hood is.
I didn't till yesterday.
And just sitting there talking to him, this and that. And then I watched the documentary on Musher Shoals. I'm like, I'm just talking to the guy that played with the Stones, with Zeppelin, with Aretha Franklin. You name somebody.
It's crazy.
He was a rhythm section, the bass player. It was just like,
Muscle
wow.
Shoals. That's nutty.
And you never even know by talking to the guy or seeing him that this is who he was.
So crazy.
But yeah, I was so blown away by watching that. I mean, I've been able to hang out with Chuck Lavelle. He comes in town here and there. I've hung out with him, and of course Randall Bramlett, kind of friends. And, you know, he played with big bands.
I still see John Keane running around.
Oh yeah,
he's out and about.
he's still producing left and right. So I know a couple bands are in there right now. I'm not allowed to say.
Now, do you do totally do a 180 on you? Do you do your own poster printing at the shop? And how does that differ? Because I'm going to share this with the art groups because I'm dying to know. How does that? What does that setup look like versus a T-shirt press?
So a T-shirt press, our T-shirt presses are automatics.
You just put them shirts on there and they go around?
You line each color up.
Okay.
And once that's done, and it's all lined up, and you have all your colors lined up, you just load the shirts on, you run the machine, and you
pull them off, put them in the dryer.
Put them on the dryer. They're done.
Okay.
Then you do it for the other side. The way we do posters, we print water-based ink. And instead of having this big oval, just imagine one of those print heads, but it's larger and it has a vacuum table. So we print.
It holds the paper down.
It pulls it down.
Okay.
And so you have to register it every time. So you print one color. We're getting ready to set up to do a widespread print for St. Augustine. And it's 10 colors.
And you have to get the corners exactly right.
I have to get it right, but it's 500 posters. So we print the first color 500 times.
Oh, shit.
Put those on racks, let them dry. Then we unrack them and restack them on a table. Register the second color to it.
Oh,
and
my
then
God.
print. And the worst thing about it is humidity. Paper, if it gets wet, it swells. If the humidity drops, it shrinks.
Oh, no.
It's like an accordion. So you're trying to maintain humidity levels while you're printing water-based ink. And there's just so many different variables. And there are times where things don't look great. And they're like, we're just going to have to make do with what we got. And that's...
Do those foils act even more different?
Oh, my God.
I figured you were going to grimace.
They are the bane of my existence.
I knew it.
Everybody loves them, this and that. They curl real bad. So if the humidity is very high, they will sit there and roll up on you. And so trying to print those and get them to stay in place and do this takes about 3 times the amount of time, longer, to print these things.
Oh, my God.
Plus, they take longer for the ink to dry on them.
Yeah.
Then if a lot of people right now like using the gold mirror, that takes a lot longer to dry for some reason or another than any of the other papers.
Oh, my God.
And then people want these patterns, all these patterns. We have to keep stock in them and this and that. And some designs just don't look good on full. You have to design it to go on that type of paper.
Yeah, yeah.
This one we're doing, they want to see it on some full paper, but there's hardly any of the paper shown through the design. So it's like...
Just the edge. Yeah.
It's like you're wasting that money, and that paper costs a lot more. Our regular paper we use comes out of Atlanta. Mac Papers is one of our suppliers, and they have warehouses throughout the United States. So they deliver to Athens, I think, 4 times. Because they deliver to UGA, they deliver all the business around town. So they bring paper in all the time. That's regular white paper, simple. Then you have French paper, which just got bought out by a company called Finch. And French paper is recycled paper. And so it likes to really stretch and move on you. And that's a nightmare. Even if in the industry it's called racking, you put your paper out, you let it acclimate to the humidity.
Right.
But being here in Georgia, that humidity is going to change.
Right.
You know, especially during the summer. We do have an enclosed room in our warehouse that we put up about 2 years ago to try to control some of that. But it's hard. We have humidifiers, dehumidifiers. We throw water on the ground when we need the humidity to come up. You know, it's...
Very scientific.
Yeah, I mean, you get what you kind of get. So you pull your hair out nonstop and you're finally like, okay, I'm looking at... As printers, we look at it from a couple inches away. We're like, nobody else is going to see this. Then there's, of course, that one collector that wants everything perfect, which I don't blame them. Oh, there's one little red dot right there. Oh, that one's out of here. That one's out way. And we've had some that shouldn't have never gone out of the shop, that got out of the shop and then people called up and cussed me out, which I do not blame them. There's been things it's like, I am so sorry. I will reprint this right now.
So you've gotten friendly, obviously, with JT over the years. He comes and he does some of his stuff using your equipment.
Yeah,
y'all collaborate on stuff.
We call it summer camp. His machine can't print as big as mine.
Yeah.
So he'll come down, stay at my house, spend a couple days or a night. There's times where he's come down here, printed, and left the same day.
Where does he? He doesn't live in Athens anymore.
No, he lives up in Durham.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So he's up there. He's a good little ways away, and he's always like, "Oh, okay." Then he's got to go see his parents, which either I think in Wilmington. So he's like that. He'll drive down here, spend here for a day, and then go, okay, I got to see my parents. Drive 8 hours. Spend most of the time driving. But we've known each other from way back in the Panic days before I printed. We knew each other's. I knew him as a taper.
Yeah. I didn't know you taped.
Yeah.
No shit. Yeah. Okay, I didn't know that.
Part of the Dirty South crew.
Okay. Which is why I saw one of his gorilla prints with Dirty South written on the bottom white area, and I had never seen that before. I was like, what does that mean? Okay,
there's that taper collection of the Dirty South tapers. I can't remember who all it is. I used to know all of them. I mean, it's not huge, just a handful.
Gotcha.
But that's how we met. Then when I got in poster printing, I'd hit him up for some information. And kind of, when I first got in poster printing, it was, well, I'm a poster collector.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already printing for all these major artists and bands. I'm sick and tired of paying these prices. And I also collect alternative movie posters and this and that, which can fetch a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I'm tired of paying $300 for, this poster, this, and that. So I found a poster press and bought it. And for about 2 years, just played. Mm-hmm. And talked with, got on the phone with Jeff Wood, too, who I've known since I got in screen printing.
Mm-hmm.
And
love Judy. Hey, Judy.
I love her to death. But he kind of became my mentor. Somebody I could call up, and he's right down the street, so he'd come and watch me do stuff, and I'd ask questions, this and that. There's a couple jobs where he's like, nope, that's not good. I'll start the whole run again. I'll be back next week to pick it up. And I'm like, oh, that's $1,600 worth of paper.
Fuck.
But that's how you learn.
Yeah.
When you that kind of money loss, you make sure you don't make those mistakes.
Yeah.
And you learn from them. And it's a lot of people think it's as easy as pressing a button, and it's not.
Now, AJ Maste does a different type of, what is that called? That machine that it runs? It's like, is it a lenticular?
It's not lenticular. Okay. Lenticular is it shifts.
Okay.
It shifts the design.
You know what I'm talking about?
It's a linoleum block printing. So he carves all that out by hand. That is sorcery of what he does. I don't know how anybody does that. The brain that works that way, that can imagine that, and then carve out certain spots and take that another plate, carve out different spots, and then make it all print and look that way.
Yeah, that's some crazy.
It's just insane.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, poster printing was starting to be a lost cause.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people got out of it that used to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of people are coming back. There's still, I guess I consider myself one of the kind of mid-range boys in the group. You got your big boys like Half and Half and Monolith and D&L. Don't drink my water. That are excellent printers. And there's some others. VG Kids, Haphazard. I'm missing a lot of them.
Have you had a chance to meet Tom Shaw? Is super nice. He reached out to me one time just to have a conversation about a poster he was looking for, and I was like, whoa, just down to earth guys. Seem like
great guy. Most of those. So I guess it was 2-3 weeks ago we had the Atlanta rock poster.
I totally missed that too. I was fucking pissed.
I went up there for a little bit. I was blessed to be able to print Jeff Wood's poster for that.
That's cool.
That had a little Frank Kozik passed away not too long ago, so it had one of his little smoking labbits in there, which I also collect vinyl toys or designer vinyl, like Dunnies and all this stuff. And he was one of them that collected his Labbits. He helped run Kid Robot at the end. Who else? He did some, maybe it was Biffle that he did a little pin in there, but hid that stuff in there, and then just to be able to see all the other artists that were there, and they wanted that poster, and it's that old 70s styles. You couldn't really read it. If you can read it, oh, you're one of the cool ones, kind of. But every single artist I talked to up there, they're just amazing, down to earth people. You know, especially with all the stress of the artist, and then when you're an artist and a printer, I couldn't imagine having to do all that. Like JT or Jeff Wood used to do. Chuck Sperry.
Have you met him yet?
I've never met him in person.
Me
Talked
neither,
to him plenty on the phone, and
super nice guy. Seems like.
Sometimes we had right at the beginning we had a little issue that I might have stepped on some toes a little bit, and not getting his permission. We were doing a Panic print or a T-shirt print, and it was one of the ladies or something. When the ladies first started coming out. And we had these things called Pellons. It's a test print to make sure things line up right, this and that. And sometimes I would print those. It kind of looks like a poster, but it's on little fabric. Some people have them out there. They know who they are. And Chuck got wind of this because we put it up for auction to raise money. And he sent me long, very, very choice words were said. I learned my place very quick on that one, and rightfully so. And Panic did step up for me and say, look, he donated this to us to raise money.
Right. You didn't mean it.
I didn't mean to. Yeah. I'm not trying to make any money off these. And that's one thing. Everybody's like, oh, I'll pay for this. Let me buy it from you. I'm like, I can't sell you anything. I can give you something, but I can't sell it. And I can't have you sell it either.
Right.
So I'm very picky with if I give something out.
Makes sense.
It's not my place to sell other people's stuff that they're selling. And other printers, some printers do that. Usually, not anybody that knows who they are or they're famous or anything. They're weird mom and pop shops that might print bootleg Taylor Swift shirts or something.
Yeah.
You know,
I went to Birmingham 2 weekends ago and saw Sam Holt, and he looks great, lost a lot of weight, sounds great. He's of course, and I didn't realize he's playing through Mikey's actual rig that I guess he gave him right before he died, the Soldano and the Mesa Boogie. And, man, he's got that guitar dialed in. It was a fun. I got drunk as shit. I didn't mean to. And I don't drink hardly at all anymore because it beats me up. And luckily remembered to drink a bunch of water at the end of the night. But we had a good time. It was the first time I've been out in a little bit.
And I've seen him once or twice. It is hard. It's hard. It's like, it sounds just like Mikey, but it's not.
Yeah.
And it took me a while. Like, when Mikey passed, I remember exactly where I was.
I do too.
When it happened, I was up at Lake Burden where all of us were, and we knew he was sick. I knew he was sick for a good while too.
I had no idea.
I kind of got right into it with working with him. It's like, hey, something's going on, but keep this hush hush.
Yeah.
And but yeah, everybody's phone started ringing, and up at Lake Burden, you don't have any cell phone reception really, or at least I didn't. And I finally went to check my messages, and it was like, oh, Mikey just passed. So I was like, okay, I'm going back to Athens.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think I saw maybe one or two George shows. Just like,
Me too,
it's not the same feeling. And then I also got married, and that didn't last too long, and she didn't like Panic. So I never really got to go see Panic. But as soon as that divorce went through, I was back on the road seeing Panic, and Gary made sure I was back on the road, another crew, and this and that. We're like, you're getting your ass to the show.
Yeah.
And it was what I needed to kind of get me out of that rut. And there's plenty of times it was nice. I'd go to the show, and there'd be a cooler backstage with a handle Crown Royal, a gallon of water, and a cup of ice for me. And I'd sit up on stage and watch the band from the stage. I watch them, not listen to them because the sound sucks backstage.
Yeah,
if you don't
I
have
bet.
headphones. And
I bet.
everybody used to want to go back there, and it's like,
You're not missing much.
You're not missing anything. The only thing you're missing from not going backstage, from not going backstage, is a clean bathroom.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that's nice back there. That's a work zone for them back there. You don't want people coming while you're working,
Right.
coming and getting all up in your shit.
Yeah, yeah. I was on lunch break. I'd moved away from Athens to get up to Kennesaw because I needed to clean up, and I heard it on 96 Rock. And I had been to Bonnaroo, that last Bonnaroo, but didn't know that he was sick. Or maybe I did know. I don't know. But I remember being like, oh, no. Because, once you get into them, it's like you're in there. So...
Yeah, Panic's had a lot of tragedy through their years. I mean, from Mikey, Wayne, Gary, Todd,
Danny, and
Danny.
unofficially, I guess.
I know there's Denise, which was Gomer's wife. Gomer's old good friend. Love seeing him when I get to see him.
Yeah.
That's one of Gomer's God. He was one of their first. I think he was their first sound guy to help support them and whatnot. And I still see him at shows here and there, and he's getting up there. But
I only interacted with Mikey one time, and it was when I was bartending at the Georgia Theater. I don't remember who was playing, but it was me and Brian Crane behind the bar, and he comes in with Barbette, and he's got his own 6-pack of Budweiser, and Brian puts it behind in the ice for him. And I remember thinking, I guess the beer here is shit.
The stories about the Georgia Theater. Oh, the kegs are kept in the basement.
Yeah.
The tap lines have never been cleaned.
Clean, yeah.
The kegs are right there. It just wasn't very good beer.
It wasn't.
It's just like, it's Budweiser, but I don't think it's Budweiser.
Yeah, I never drank beer there. Ugh.
I remember having a beer. Somebody roofied me or something because I'd have a beer and all of a sudden I was just blacked out. I say, I got to get out of here now and didn't even make it out before I went down.
Oh, my God.
And I remember I was down on the floor and I set my drink up on the rail. And somebody got it. That was back when the Georgia Theater was a great old shithole. I miss the shithole.
Yeah, me
too.
too.
That upstairs bathroom on the balcony level. Ooh.
Yeah.
And that bar up there. Oh, that bar up there. We'd go up there and where you'd work a lot.
Yeah.
We'd go in the whole court. I'd be there with the Colonel and Todd or just other friends there. I'm the little kid just listening. And what are y'all talking about? Oh, yeah. I'm a cool kid. I Panic and Colonel and this person, that. Oh, my God. They were just playing on stage.
Yeah.
Those are fun days. And, we used to sneak in the theater when we were, reopened in 91. I remember going there in high school, just sneaking in. And then even before that, like when I was 13, I was going downtown, going to Rockfish, going to Uptown. It was my parents taught with people that their significant others were in bands like Guadalcanal Diary, so I'd be able to get in all these shows.
I forgot about Guadalcanal. Nickel Night at Lowry's.
Oh God, Nickel Night at Lowry's. Ooh.
That was my first time sneaking into a bar. I think it was Lowry's.
We would drive around town till we get a cop behind us, and then we'd speed or run a stop sign. So they'd pull you over. They'd write you a ticket. And then they cut your license half and staple it to the ticket. So you had this pink slip, and you just go with an eraser, and you erase the year on it, and you crumbled it up real good. And you find it out. You crumbled it up, and find it out. Here you go.
That's a whole lot of trouble.
They just kind of look at it. Oh,
fine.
And a lot of people already knew who I was. They're like, "You're not going." I wasn't there to drink anyways. I was there to see the music and hang out with friends. Hell, you remember the Teen Center?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
What have you ever heard of anybody else growing up that had a Teen Center that was modeled after a bar that had a bar inside and had all the drinks and the pizza, and you had to have an ID.
Yeah, that was
in there.
Yeah, damn, the original one in that funky long building. They had video games in the front, I think.
When you walked in to the left,
some video games.
The video games.
That's
and
right.
everything,
That's
and you had your IDs made over there.
That's right.
Because we make fake IDs. You knew the right person because you get it laminated. Yeah, to the right, you'd have
the dance floor and all that shit.
The dance floor in the very back, and you had the DJ booth, and underneath you had another booth, and then you'd have lock-ins, and it's like, okay, we're in middle school. Guys are going through puberty, girls, and some things happen there.
They moved it out to the Y, and it sucked.
Oh, I do remember hearing about that. I don't think I ever went to the Y. I remember my mom not letting me go to the teen center one night to go see my girlfriend. So I got pissed and I snuck out of the house and walked from my house in Homewood Hills to the teen center.
Oh,
The
shit.
teen center is where Checkers is
Yeah.
on Atlanta Highway Broad Street.
I guess if you cut through.
No, I walked straight down.
That's a long walk.
Hawthorne. I walked down Jefferson Highway, walked up Hawthorne, walked past Paldo, which was very scary.
Yeah,
at
that was
point in
sketchy
time,
back in the day.
especially being a teenage white male. I get there. I'm there for maybe about 10 minutes before I hear my name being screamed by my mom at the top of her lungs.
You're like, God damn
And
it.
I'm like, oh, boy, you're embarrassing me. You shouldn't have snuck out of the house.
Were you related to TJ Bennett?
No.
Just friends, because that's who got my ID as his fake ID, because we had the blonde hair going thing.
His parents and basically my stepfather were best friends.
Okay.
My stepfather is TJ's godfather.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
And those parties, we'd go out to the Bennett's when we were little kids.
They used to throw down.
Yeah, I was like, what's that smell going on? Now, my parents were straight laced, and it's me, Brian, a couple other kids. We'd go and hang out. They was out on a farm. Kenny Rogers would be there on occasions, this and that. And so, parents go drink. And, this is on a Wednesday night, Tuesday night. And I remember, getting in the car and saying, okay, it's midnight. I need to sleep. I'm like, we got there, 6 o'clock. They've been out hanging out, drinking. It was food. I mean, it's just everybody got together. Sometimes music was played. It was just card games, this and that. And all the kids got to hang out and have fun time. Got to stay up till midnight.
I know I'm bouncing around, but were you at Hampton 70 at the Fox when that happened?
No, I was not. I thought about going and really was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I was just kind of telling the story the other day. It was weird. I'd been downtown drinking that night, and instead of driving, of course, I decided I'm going to walk to my shop, which is
Lengthy.
a good little walk.
That's a good one. That's a good walk.
Hours.
Well, kudos for not driving.
Yeah, so, don't make that mistake. I've done that once or twice, and yes. It's very costly. And luckily, it only cost me money and not nobody else anything myself.
Yeah.
But I am walking. I'm almost to the shop. I'm right where West Clock is. So a whole bunch of apartments are going up. And they just paved the road, and I stepped wrong, rolled my ankle, fell in a ditch. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden my phone rings. The Colonel died.
Like what?
Colonel just died on stage. He's still on stage. I'm like, how long? I'm like, I hit the ground about the same. I hit the ground about the same time he hit.
Oh my God.
And then I get this, start hearing stories as I get back to the shop. I'm like, oh my God, what? And they're like, no, he's gone. He's definitely gone. But that's the ultimate grease. He said,
Yeah.
the ultimate grease is either A, you grow boobies on your head, or you play on stage in front of all your friends and family, and you have an amazing time.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. And
Yep. I was there and I had to go to the bathroom. So I was over at the Georgian Terrace taking a shroom when it actually happened. So I missed that. Thank goodness, but there was a video of it for a while, and then people got smart and got it out of there. But
that's another band that I follow, Morphine, that happened to their lead singer. He died of a heat stroke on stage.
oh shit.
I saw it. We listened to him forever, and then they came, played at the 40 Watt, put on an amazing show, just played till like 4 o'clock in the morning. It's a great show, and we had some extracurriculars going on there, and but I was like, this band's just amazing. I can't wait till they were leaving to go overseas. And I was like, I can't wait till they come back, see them again, this, that. Well, they went over there playing some music festival in Italy. He'd been hiking all around, had a heat stroke on stage, heart attack, and died. And it's just like,
damn it.
And that's for a band to have three members, sometimes 4 for a keyboard player. But mostly it was a saxophone player. They would play 2 saxes at once sometimes, a drummer, and then Mark Salmon, the lead singer, played a 2-string bass on a guitar.
I'll be damned.
And just that is nice and mellow. It's some music you put on when you get home and it's midnight and you still want to be up for a while and you want a glass of wine, you just want to mellow and chill out. You put that on.
Yeah.
And you just relax, or sometimes it'll get you up and moving too. But yeah, I remember the Colonel passing, and
It suits him though. I mean, as gory as that sounds, it's like the one person I could think of that probably wouldn't have it any other way.
yeah, and well,
Because Jimmy was laughing. He thought he was playing.
Well, the Colonel used to do that. He would fake heart attacks on stage.
Did he really?
Fixing to die. Fixing to die. I'm having a heart attack.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
So everybody's thinking he's fucking around.
Yeah, they thought he
Wow.
was joking. I've talked to a couple people. They're like, we thought he was joking at first, and he didn't get
Curtains.
up, and then we noticed there's some things that were not right, and curtains got shut real quick. And
No
you
doubt.
know,
Well, man, I could sit here for fucking hours and talk to you, but I guess I need to let you go home and have a life.
I go play with my dogs, maybe eat some dinner.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, man.
Oh, anytime. Maybe we can pick it up some other time.
Absolutely.
Family, lots of pictures of a birdie family. Lots of pictures of a birdie family in the